All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started. Hi, everyone. My name is Chandler Precht. I am the Associate Director of the Sustainability Management and Science Programs. Thank you so much for joining us today. Congratulations on your acceptance to our programs. Please feel free to use the chat feature to introduce yourselves, and then the Q&A box for any questions that you have for the panelists. There will be a live Q&A at the end. But for now, we're actually going to start by asking the panelists to introduce themselves. So let's start with Mariby.
Hello, my name is Mariby Perdomo Cava. I am an alum from the Sustainability Management Program and the Sustainable Water Management Certificate. I am originally from the Dominican Republic. My background is in design and architecture focusing on planning and coastal resiliency. During the program, I was developing a program with the Dominican Republic regarding the beaches there. And it became a bigger project that it's now connected to the Ministry of Tourism. And it's something that I benefited a lot from the program because I connected with a lot of people that collaborated with my team in that. I'll talk about that a little more later. I graduated in 2015, as I mentioned, and I just love the SUMA program.
Awesome. Seyena?
Good morning. My name is Seyena Simpson. I graduated from the Sustainability Science program in 2021. I'm actually from Kingston, Jamaica, so I was an international student while I was at Columbia. My undergrad is in environmental science and policy and geology, and I currently work as a staff scientist at Langen Engineering and Environmental Services.
Awesome. Hezekiah?
Hello, everyone. My name is Hezekiah Williams. I am from Edwards, Mississippi. I'm a third year sustainability management student, so I'm getting ready to graduate. Yeah. And my undergrad is in biomedical engineering and my professional experience. So I've served at NASA and a couple of other places. And I'm looking for a solid amount of opportunities moving forward.
Thanks. Ying?
Hi, everyone. My name is Ying. I'm originally from Malaysia. I am part of the SUMA program, graduating this August. I have an undergrad in economics from UCLA, and prior to the program, I was at Bain doing management consulting.
Wonderful. Bridget?
Hi, everyone. My name is Bridget Keeler. I am a SUMA student. I'll be graduating this December. I got my I'm from Morristown, New Jersey. I got my undergraduate degree at Wake Forest University in economics. And my professional experience includes corporate sustainability, and largely I worked at a clean tech company for about 4 years doing energy efficiency finance and implementation for large real estate portfolios. And yeah, excited to be here.
Thank you. Megan?
Hi, everyone. My name is Megan Gross. I am a second year student in the SUMA program. I'll be graduating in December of 2023. I'm from Denver, Colorado. My undergraduate background is a bachelor's in international relations and global business and French from USC. And I worked at the National Renewable Energy Lab for 3 years in their innovation and entrepreneurship department prior to joining the SUMA program. And I now work at a climate nonprofit in New York City.
And last but not least, Tinas?
Hello, everybody. My name is Tinas Venter. I'm in the Sustainability Science program currently. I am from Napa Valley in California and studied biology at a small liberal arts institution in the Bay Area. And my background is in outdoor education, as well as different stints in the wineries throughout the Napa Valley.
So cool. All right. Let me just stop sharing so we can see all the panelists now. So let's start with some questions. Hezekiah, I'll start with you. What drew you to the SUMA program?
So first of all, the prestige of Columbia. Let's just go on and say it. Okay, Columbia is an Ivy League. It's the best of the best. And the sustainability management program at Columbia it focuses on multiple areas. So it focuses on business, focuses on economics, it focuses on policy. And for me, because I plan to own my own business one day, making defense armor, I want to build that experience in policy, right? So that's what drew me to the sustainability management program.
Awesome. Tinas?
Well, New York drew my wife, and the program is here. So now I wanted to go to one of the best sustainability programs in the country, and the fact that Columbia's program is in New York, well, while my wife and I are young, we were very interested in being in the city, and just all of the cultural experiences that comes with that, all of the resources that Columbia has to offer that ties to the city as well. Doing the program here, networking with sustainability giants, being located in New York really is a big advantage of this program.
Thanks. Bridget?
Yeah, want to echo some of Tinas's thoughts, but I was kind of deciding between doing a green MBA or doing the SUMA program. And I realized ultimately that what Columbia was offering with the sustainability management program was for a sustainability manager, not necessarily just a broad business leader. So you're within the sustainability management program, you are getting some of those business, finance, economics classes, but you're also taking science courses, you're also taking policy courses, and the well-rounded nature of the coursework was really what drew me. And also I wanted to be in person. That's kind of probably a thing of the somewhat of the past, hopefully, but that was another final factor for me in deciding.
Great. So I'm gonna now ask some of our panelists to talk about whether they enrolled full-time or part-time and why. So Megan, let's start with you.
Sure. I enrolled part-time with my previous employment actually at the National Renewable Energy Laboratory. And I loved, and my employer was super flexible. And what was great about the SUMA program is it's all evening classes. And so I was able to balance full-time work, working 9 to 5 and then going to class 6 to 8 twice a week. And what was great about it, and so then I also ended up switching jobs, and now my new employer is also totally flexible with me going to classes in the evenings, which is fantastic. And actually I have some colleagues who graduated from this program as well, which is pretty cool. And what I love about it is the professors also know that a good portion of their students are professionals during the day. And so they make sure to have office hours that can work with a 9 to 5 work schedule. And so everyone, there's a good mix of full-time and part-time, but I've really loved the part-time experience so far.
Seyena, how about you?
So I was a full-time student. Well, as an international student, you have to be full-time. So that's part of the program. But it was good, as she was saying, to have classes in the evening. So even though I was full-time at night, I could still look for internships and other opportunities during the daytime.
Great point. Marivi?
I did a mix. I started full-time just to see if I could manage the course load. And I could, but I decided that I wanted to also work while being in the program so I could, bring things from work to the classroom and the other way around. And it really worked out. I also feel that by not rushing the program, because I had the opportunity to do it that way, I benefited more from networking and events and even student group things and offerings that evolved every year. By being there just for 1 year, I would have probably skipped some of that because I was only going full time. So I did both and I really liked it.
Ying, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm an international student as well. So I'm enrolled full time. I actually did sort of the accelerated path. So I'll be finishing in 3 semesters within 1 year. And I would say I really enjoy being full time just because I get to fully immerse myself in the program and on campus. I get to participate in sort of the extracurricular activities. You can join organizations. I'm part of Women in Sustainability. So there's sort of so many array of events and things you can participate in, and it feels really nice to be a student again. I would say quite enjoy it.
Ying, you brought up something really interesting, which or clubs. Can any of you talk about the clubs that you're a part of?
Yeah, so I can start. So as part of Women in Sustainability, we're really just a community organization looking to host events and create a community space for women and all allies to come together. So we have everything from an annual Uplift Summit, where it's a sustainability summit that we organize every year, where we invite sustainability professionals from the private and public sectors to talk about sustainable transitions and across the different topics of sustainability, to organizing mentorship programs where we connect students one-on-one with a sustainability professional in an industry or area they're interested in. And we also host sort of like monthly coffee chats where, you know, people can come and show up in person and just grab a coffee, meet someone new, and talk about things.
Hezekiah, I think you wanted to say something as well.
Yeah, you know I had to speak up, Chandler. Yeah, I was involved, and I'm heavily involved actually in student government at Columbia, the School Professional Studies student government. I served as the diversity ambassador from SPSSG to the health committee to the SPSDIA committee. And I want to say, just for our newly admitted students, please get involved, because when you get involved, your network grows, you impact the university, and you positively learn. You learn from your colleagues, you learn from the faculty, you learn from the staff. So from my experience, I loved it.
Thank you. And Tinas, can you talk a little bit about Rescue?
Yes, definitely. Rescue is the sustainability science-based club, but we're obviously open to any and everybody. We just try to do sustainability science-oriented events, but we also have a standing bi-weekly bar night where we just hang at a bar close to campus every 2 weeks for whoever's in the area, and there's always 5 to 12 people that show up, so that's fun to just kind of get to know each other outside of the school space. But we also just had a trip to the Earth Institute, specifically to the field station, where we actually help them. They have 2 new experiments they're working on. One is oyster monitoring and one is microplastic monitoring. And they recently got all the equipment, but haven't been able to do any measurements yet. So we were able to help them like do their baseline measurements for all the studies moving forward. Things like that's fun. We like hiking and just anything sustainability science oriented, really.
I love that. Awesome. So that kind of gives you a taste for what clubs are available, or, you know, things that you can get involved with at Columbia or through the program. So now I'm going to ask some of you what your favorite aspects of the program were. So let's start with Marivi.
I'm glad I get to answer this one. Many things drew me to the program, but some of my favorites were, first, just knowing people from around the world, and the perspective is very different. So as I mentioned, my background is mostly in design and architecture. You're always with the same group offering the same thing. The Dominican Republic is a small country. So it was just getting the same and just getting out there as a professional and offering things and competing with the same people. I get to Columbia and everyone's from a different place and they have a different background, and the discussions in the classroom were amazing. Also, some of the readings I had done before starting the program, the authors were the instructors of the courses. So to me, I was just like at a concert during most of my classes. Faculty also, but one thing that really drew my attention was the capstone. So the idea of doing something not as an individual, but as a group at the end and putting everything into practice. So in architecture, you do a thesis and you spend a year and a half working on it. And it's great, but it's so different when you get to work with a group, because that is real life. Like, you don't work on your own. So the capstone workshop and the options available every semester really drew my attention. And I was very lucky during my final semester where I got to do exactly what I wanted to do for my capstone. It was a really great experience.
Awesome. Megan? what were your favorite aspects of the program, or what are they, since you're still
I'd
in the
say,
program?
yeah, I'd say what drew me to this program the most was essentially like how customizable it is. Like there are only two actually required classes, which is the introduction class and the capstone class. And everything else is customizable within verticals. And for me, like I'm pretty early career, so I wasn't exactly sure where I wanted my sustainability career to take me. And I've been able to kind of tailor my degree to exactly what I want to be doing as I'm learning that. So I think that's what drew me to this program and the aspect that I've enjoyed the most.
Awesome. And Seyena, I'm going to ask you what your favorite aspects were, just because you're a sustainability science alum. So I want that perspective too.
So I love that it's the application of it in the workforce. So it's not just necessarily doing research, but how this relates to whatever job that you're looking into. So for example, I'm a staff scientist at an engineering firm. So when I was at Columbia, I took classes in like environmental investigation and remediation, consulting, things that would help me in like my day-to-day job now. So they're definitely very applicable. And the professors, some of them are practitioners of the career path. So they've been doing this for many, many years, and they can tell you exactly what this career path might look like. And as she was saying, it's very customizable. So like I would choose classes based on my interests and how that would help me, but my classmates might be doing something different, or they may have a different career path, and they kind of decide what classes are better for them. So I like that as well.
Thank you. All right, so now I'm going to jump to what your favorite classes were, or are. Bridget, how about you? Let's start with you.
So I have two. My first one is financing the clean energy economy. I took it with Curtis Probst this spring semester. It's project finance. You learn how to, create economic models to finance solar projects, wind projects, whatever it may be. There are two different professors for that course, but it was just great course. And then energy and sustainable development with Phil LaRocco, where you work on designing a project to bring electrification to an area of the world that is not electrified. It's really cool and very applicable if you wanted to go into that type of work. And Phil is just like an incredible professor and really hands-on. So yeah.
Ying, how about you?
Yeah, my favorite class is actually not part of SUMA, but it's under the cross-registration list. That's one part of the program that is amazing. You can cross-register to classes in the law school, in SEPA. So this class was part of the engineering school, and it's a class on waste management. The professor was amazing. He's done so much work in this space, and he's consulted with governments across the globe, and so he brings a very practical and professional lens to understanding waste management from a very holistic perspective, from economics to the technical side of understanding how waste gets processed and sorted, to understanding the geopolitical tensions related to it. So it was very like holistic and also very hands-on, and he was very willing to change the course of the class based on the interests of the students. And it was very discussion based, which was what I like. So yeah, I really recommend that class if you're interested in that sort of space.
Maribi, what were your favorite classes?
I have two that I still kind of use what I learned from them. One of them was within my area of comfort, which was responsiveness and resilience in the built environment by Lynette Witter. She's a full-time faculty in the program, I believe, or still is. And cost benefit analysis, which was completely outside of my comfort zone. Great courses, very different from each other, but I think that's part of the great thing about the program, that you get kind of a complete understanding of sustainability, not just, oh, let me be a good student in the areas that I'm already good at because they're part of my background. So it was a great mix. And even the resiliency course, it was very different from what I was used to. And it also focused on a specific site, and you would go to the site and you would talk to people from the place and you would measure things. And in the end, you feel like you leave something there. So it was a great class, and cost benefit analysis, it applies to everything. And it was great because it focused on sustainability issues, but still, you know, a cost benefit course is really beneficial regardless of your background. Those two were my favorite. I will take a couple extra seconds and say that I'm not jealous because I actually get to benefit from it, but the number of courses available when I started compared to what's offered now, like the program's offering what, 5 new courses every semester, every year? It's insane. So for example, right now, I'm sort of pivoting and doing some things that kind of touch around the fashion industry. And now there are so many new courses that relate to that, and not just life cycle analysis. And it's great. And as an alum, I can actually connect with the instructor and say, hey, I'm an alum from the program. Can I sit in your class? I completed all my coursework. Can I sit in your class? And most of the times they're like, oh yeah, come in. And it's great. So it's something that you keep benefiting from the program after. I said a few seconds and I've taken a little extra, but I just wanted to share that.
Oh, I love it. Thank you for sharing. Tina, can you talk about your favorite classes from, you know, a sustainability science perspective?
Sure, definitely. So I'll first say one of the best parts of these two programs is how easy it is to take classes between the programs. I can talk about all the classes I've taken in great depth because I've truly loved them all. But I'll focus on one which was sustainability science and one which was sustainability management. The sustainability science one, improving health through environmental measures in water and soil. In that class, we learned about, well, taking specifically lead and arsenic is really what we focused on, but just all over the world. Part of why that class is so dear to me is because it's actually led me to now do research with that professor in the Earth Institute. So I've done a project in Brooklyn and Red Hook, and we just submitted papers to do a project in Newark and New Jersey. So that's just been a phenomenal experience to be a part of. The second is my GHG emissions course, which is through SUMA. And I work full-time on top of everything else, and that's been instrumental to me in the work I do. And which is like working with commercial real estate and helping their environmental footprint, and being able to offer that as a skill, which is in huge demand, has my phone ringing a lot more from companies who want to know that information, who want to know what kind of projects will help with their environmental footprints, things like that. It's definitely the class that had the most immediate applicable knowledge that I transition directly to the work I do on a daily basis.
That's awesome. Thank you. So now I'm going to ask a little bit about your careers. So Bridget, let's start with you. You know, what do you do now? And you know, how do you think the program is going to help you like shift? Are you staying? What's your plan?
Yeah, great question. So yeah, I was sort of already working in sustainability. I was in clean tech, but I wanted to take a more holistic approach to sustainability impact. So this summer, I'm working with the Environmental Defense Fund Climate Corps program at Google, and I'm working on Scope 3 emissions reductions with their suppliers through their indirect procurement organizations. So as Tynes was just mentioning, like greenhouse gas accounting is a critical skill for many sustainability practitioners. And I don't know exactly what I'm going to do after. I do like what I'm doing now, and could definitely potentially see a future there. But I'm mostly interested in, like working within an organization to strategize on decarbonization, you know, circular economy, basically reducing impact all around. We see a lot of net zero goals out there today, and a lot of companies setting really ambitious goals. And, you know, we are the people that can really drive those ambitious plans forward. So I think that's where I see the most opportunity for myself and the most kind of interest and excitement.
That's great. Megan, how about you?
Sure. Well, I was working in my first job out of undergrad was working in like project management, specifically for like industry partnerships between like clean tech and like investors. And I wanted to pivot more towards kind of consulting based work, so more project based work. And actually, when I was in my first semester at SUMA, I was reached out to by the nonprofit I currently work for and interviewed through that process. And it was really funny because I had a take home assignment that I swear was exactly like the assignments we were doing in my Intro to Sustainability Management class. So I felt so prepared to give a presentation and, you know, write a case analysis on the assignment that I was given, and I got the position. So now I'm working as an associate at Rocky Mountain Institute in New York City, and I am specifically working on a team. We are helping facilitate the coal transition in Indonesia. So it's super interesting. I actually had the opportunity to go to Jakarta and Bali for work during the semester, which again, professors were really great about accommodating that. And so it's been a really interesting kind of pivot from more of the like clean tech partnership space to now like working like in depth on the ground in the coal transition. So it's been really interesting. I'm curious to see where my career will go from here.
That's so wonderful. Seyena, how about you?
So I work for Langen Engineering or Environmental Services. So we do more scientific consulting. We do like environmental investigation and remediation of polluted sites like in New York. And in terms of getting the job, obviously having Columbia at the top of your resume helps a lot. And then aside from that, a lot of the classes I took in the sustainability science program are directly related to what I do now. So for example, I took a class in environmental investigation and remediation, that was taught by somebody who's been doing it for 40 years. So during my interview, they wanted to hear all about it because they said that most schools don't offer classes specifically doing what it is that we do. So that was definitely a big talking point in like my interview, or I took a class in GIS. And we're doing a lot of GIS mapping and using GIS in our projects and things like that. So definitely having that background and education was very, very helpful at getting the job and currently doing the job.
That's so great. And Hezekiah, I know you're off to do something pretty cool. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, so right after I finished the sustainability management program at Columbia, I actually been enrolling in Notre Dame for my PhD. So the overarching category is sustainable engineering, right? But it's a focus on bioengineering, mechanical engineering, material science and engineering. It's a joint degree, and the focus is I'll be working on a spinal model. Okay, and I can't speak too much about it because it's still in the works. But the spinal model actually uses peak material, and it allows the blood to actually flow through the implant and connect and allow greater flexibility for the individual. Long story short, I'll be doing research for my PhD. And everything that I learned in the sustainability management program literally transferred. I actually, reflecting back on it, my PI, I just completed an internship there. My PI said that I actually did such great work. The data that I presented to him will actually be used in a protocol he's submitting to the FDA. So everything from Columbia in the sustainability management program directly translated into the work field.
That's incredible. Yang, how about you? Where do you see yourself after the program?
Yeah, so I think I'm trying to combine my background in consulting with sustainability. So anything sustainability strategy would be, I think, ideal for me. So I'm looking to go in-house now that I've had the consulting experience, trying to do more sort of implementation work and be able to see a project end to end. So yeah, I'm applying right now, and it's been so useful because in all my interviews, I've been able to pull out projects and work that we've learned in class, and it's been so helpful. I feel like I want to go back and redo all of that again, like ×2, because I've just enjoyed it so much. Yeah.
That's great. And then, I also want to ask about skills and tools you've acquired through the programs. I know some of you have talked about the GHG accounting class or cost benefit. Marivia, I want to start with you because you did bring up, your architecture background. So I kind of want to hear more about, you brought up this green building class that you had taken. So, tell us more.
So pretty much every course I took, there's something that I use at least twice a week. And I right now, I am not working full-time for someone else. Still, we just won a contest in the Dominican Republic for the colonial district. So they're pivoting to a more sustainable focus to it because it's attracting a lot of tourism. And they said that the climate adaptation and the sustainability portion of it were the strongest part of the application, which made me very, very proud. I won't be working on it full time. I will work as a consultant, which was my plan originally. And it's a lot that's very common with SUMA and science alumni doing consulting and maybe doing something else. So we're not just doing one thing. And the reason I'm saying that, it's because even though the 5 different curriculum areas in the program seem to point in very different directions, I apply things from each curriculum area for each of the different projects I'm working on. We're also trying to make our house a passive house, which will take a while, which is very exciting, very expensive also, but it's a great investment. And even, talking to people, they sometimes come and they're like, oh, we have this contractor, and they start talking about things. And when you start talking in their lingo, they kind of go and they get the bigger book, and the better options. So even to make informed decisions for my day-to-day, it has been incredibly helpful. I would say that the curriculum areas that I was least comfortable with, or I was least connected to before starting the program, are things that maybe I use more because I know that I learned them from the program. But everything, like even in the physical dimensions of sustainability, there are things that I use, like in the policy level with the beach project that I mentioned earlier, with the other project, the personal project that has something to do with fashion and life cycle analysis and all that. The cost benefit, as I mentioned, everything, even budgeting. So it's not just for a job, like you apply things everywhere and on it with everything.
Tinas, what about you? You kind of brought it up your answer before, but tell us more.
Yeah, I can talk about another aspect of this for sure. So one of the courses that I think has greatly helped me, not just professionally, but just as a sustainably oriented person in the world, was the writing about global science for an international audience. Completely out of my comfort zone. I do not consider myself a journalist or someone who, or I should actually rephrase that as I didn't consider myself any of those things. And after that class was amazing. Claudia is fantastic, and she really just kind of teaches you how to critically read, but also how to measure who your audience is. Who's your audience, who you're talking to, and how do you need to communicate to that audience to get a point across succinctly and professionally, and so that they can understand it at the end of the day. And that really has framed how I talk about science, whether it's that I'm working with like a smaller real estate firm in Florida, and they very honestly don't care about the sustainable impact, but they need to be competitive in this market. And so how can I communicate to them what they need to do, make sure that the science is accurate, but in a way that they will take on these projects. So, and that class was very, very fundamental for me in that, but also the other classes I took, the level of caliber that the professors and instructors have is just absolutely mind-blowing. And I have learned so much in how they handle controversial questions, or and just how they address that just that is really, really instrumental in learning how to communicate science to the broader audience.
That's so great. So before I open this up for the live Q&A. I do have a question that I want all of you to answer, and that is, what is one piece of advice that you would share with admitted students that are planning to enroll in this program? So Yang, let's start with you.
Yeah, I love this question. I would say really tap into your peers and build that network. I think at the end of the day, there's so much you can learn on your own, but it's the people that you meet here that is so valuable, and they will go a long, long way.
Megan, let's jump to you.
Sure. This kind of goes off of what I was saying about like the aspects of the program that I love, but like really take the time when you're registering for courses each semester to figure out like, like what am I interested in learning and what is going to like specifically benefit my career. Like don't just take classes. I feel like in undergrad you take classes to check boxes like, oh, I need this gen ed credit. You don't have to do that here. So I know we have verticals you have to get courses from, but like really make sure that you're taking courses that both interest and benefit you, and then you'll thrive. That's how I've certainly had that opportunity.
Hezekiah?
Guys, I'm gonna give you all three things. So one, build your network. You're at Columbia University, network. Step out of your comfort zone. So my background is in engineering. I come from Mississippi. I saw one of our newly admitted students is from Mississippi. I graduated from Jackson University with a degree in engineering, right? I stepped out of my comfort zone to even apply and be active in the SUMA program. If you become active in the SUMA community and you connect with your professors, that could equal into a job down the line. So network, step out of your comfort zone, and definitely start early. Start early with the application period for jobs and connecting, internships or whatnot. And also, like with undergrad, start early with your assignments.
Bridget?
Yeah, mine would be like, obviously take advantage of all the events that Columbia and SPS, Earth Institute, all these different organizations that you're going to be a part of. Take advantage of the events that are being held and the resources that are offered, but also like, this is New York City. There is so much happening in this space of climate and sustainability. Like definitely take advantage of the events that are going on in the larger New York City area. And that's also part of the networking, like Hezekiah is mentioning, but there's just so many groups and weekly activities and such that are happening, events that you should really be taking advantage of while you're here.
Totally agree. Seyena?
Not to echo my fellow panelists, but networking is definitely very important. Aside from the professors who are world-renowned, and then your fellow classmates are, fantastic. And then take advantage of everything that Columbia has to offer. So as she was saying, there's lots of events, career fairs, internship opportunities, research opportunities. Definitely take advantage of that. And New York City is your laboratory. During the pandemic, obviously, we had to take classes online and things like that, but now things are kind of coming back in person. So I would definitely take advantage of that if you're willing to and able to.
Tinas?
Okay. As somebody who runs a club and was the rep for our program for some time, use your resources. You're going to get a lot of emails. They've actually done a great job on consolidating that. It's overwhelming, read them. The amount of conferences I go to through the free Wall Street Journal membership I get, the entire sustainable forum through the Wall Street Journal, fantastic. It's let me link up with so many more people. The resources to track which courses you've taken and which you haven't. There's literally a program that'll do it for you, so you don't have to do it in a spreadsheet. There is a grant every semester in case you want to do a small study. If there's a conference you want to go to, any sort of professional development session that fits into your program of study, there's a wealth of resources, and use them while you were here. I will also echo, I think it's Megan who said, make sure you cater your courses toward what you want to do. The Career Center is fantastic. We have really good advisors. They have sessions all the time. And in this, because the SUMA and SUSC programs are kind of have their foot in SPS and the climate school, we get unique access to the Climate Schools job search, which gives us an entire, so we get the SBS job search and the Earth Institute job search. So make sure you're on both of those, because they both come with different types of jobs, internships, different professional development opportunities. There's just an absolute wealth of resources at your disposal. Try to figure out what those are, talk to your representative, talk to the admin, and get into them as early as possible and get to know your academic advisor.
And last but not least, Marivi.
Ines, you got most of my answers. I had to keep like, okay, next. So definitely network, definitely benefit from the resources at Columbia, not just, you know, the specific ones related to the program, but there are things that you can continue to do throughout your life. So the library system at Columbia is great, the writing centers, etc. So make sure you're aware of those resources. Connect with your faculty advisor. You have no idea of what you can get from that. Like, it's not just to help you select your courses. They will point you in the right direction by just saying, oh, I know this person. By doing a quick intro, that could change your life, or your professional life at least. So definitely connect with your faculty advisor. Don't do it just on your first semester. Keep on touching base at least once per semester. It's really useful. And also read your email and check the website before you reach out to the admin folks, because the answer is probably there already. Trust me.
That was all really great advice, everyone. So I do see that we have quite a few questions in the Q&A box. Alfred, can you help me by asking some of the questions to the panelists?
Absolutely. And congratulations, everybody. The chat box has been amazing. Like, I'm seeing people from Mongolia, China, Thailand, Germany. It's like incredible, just the geographic diversity. So welcome everybody, and congratulations again. Some of the questions that I think are kind of great value for everybody is, one of the students is asking about work and school balance specifically. I know quite a few of you are thinking about joining this program in a part-time sense. So what would be the ideal number of classes per semester to be enrolled in to make both work and school manageable?
Any of you can jump in, feel free.
I have, like, from experience, because I also worked for the program for a few years. So it's not only my experience, but the experience of hundreds of other students. Usually students that work full time, if they are in the area, usually it's 2 courses per semester if working full time, and kind of the other way around. If you're a full-time student, then, you know, get like less than a part-time job, so less than 20 hours per week. I would say that for every hour in the classroom, 2.5 hours for readings, group work, individual work makes sense. So it's about 7 hours for each course every week. So, you know, if you have a family and you work full time as well, and you maybe commute from another state, then think about, you know, going for 2 courses per semester, if not 3. It depends on the work that you do. If you have to stay late usually, or if it's not flexible enough, then 2 is your number. For students that decide to go full-time or have to go full-time, there are ways that you can get the experience on campus working in more than one position with a limited number of hours. So there is, I think the limit is 20 hours per week on a regular semester. You don't have to do only one internship. You can be doing an internship and something like a research thing on your own, and you can have both things happening at the same time. It's just the number of hours have to add up and not exceed 20. So it is possible to feel like you're doing a lot of things and actually do a lot of things while enrolling full-time. And the reason I decided when I was full-time to go part-time was because I had enough support from my family to take my time to finish the program. But it is possible. I had friends who were full-time students who lived in Connecticut or New Jersey, had families, and had a full-time job. So they worked full-time, they were full-time students, they had other things going on in life, and they aced the program. So it is possible if you really want to do it. So every combination is possible, but for full-time, people working full-time with additional responsibilities, I think that the ideal number is two courses per semester. And if possible, enrolling courses in the summer. So it's first half, second half, or the entire summer. So even if a student decides to enroll in theory full-time over the summer, they might not be taking courses every day. They might not be on campus every day. So think about that too, if you need to kind of expedite your way through the program because of work or other responsibilities.
Thanks, Marivi. That was great. And actually, somebody had a question specifically for you on the panel. So, and a good question. So, she's interested in both sustainable architecture, city design, and sustainability within the fashion industry. She'd be interested to hear more about how you've begun transitioning from architecture to fashion since graduating from SUMA.
Okay, so it's funny that while I was working for SUMA, my other project was taking a while, but I also benefited by connecting with a lot of people in the program. So that's why I insist, like, connect with your faculty advisor. Faculty are key, your classmates are key. I can share my contact information if that works, like through the program. If you can do an intro, I would love to connect with the person asking the question. There is a lot of overlap. Like, once you're in the design space, everything kind of connects one way to another. So even sourcing of materials for architecture, there are some things that overlap and kind of go into fashion, and without you knowing it, which is what happened to me in a sense. I was like, oh my goodness, look at me. I'm not just doing architecture now. This is more on the textile industry or more on the space design, but focusing on the fashion portion of it. So there are a lot of courses that I could definitely recommend. So LCA, life cycle analysis, or what is it? Theory and practice of life cycle analysis, I believe it's the name. Cost benefit analysis would also be really beneficial. The fashion courses, which not only focus on the fashion portion, but also focus on waste and other parts of the chain, are also really helpful. But as I said, if you'd like to connect, I would love to share my 2 cents.
Thanks, Marivi. Another question that came in is from Nicole. Nicole would love to hear more about the diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives at Columbia mentioned by Hezekiah. And what is the learning experience like for persons of color? Does anybody on the panel want to discuss a little bit more about that? And I should also mention there is a dedicated section of the SUMA webpage that discusses diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I'll make sure to also type that in the chat box. But does any panelists want to add on there?
I was going to say I can start. As someone who serves on the DIA committee, not only of SPSSG, but also of SPS, the School of Professional Studies in general, I can truly say Columbia is a progressive institution. It prides itself on inclusion, and specifically the initiatives that Columbia is adopting. One of them is the Equity Language Guide. That's to ensure that everyone is included, not only vocally, but literally in their everyday practice. You also have the celebration of all of the cultures. Columbia makes a point to celebrate Black History Month. This is Pride Month. All of the different holidays throughout the year. So every single month there's something going on, or every single literally club is celebrating in one aspect or another. But specifically regarding life as a person of color on campus, I can truly say you have to find your affinity group. And that does not mean your nationality or your ethnicity or your race. That literally means the people who share your goals, desires, and dreams. So myself, I was blessed. I was quite blessed because as an HBCU fellow, I already had an affinity group, as an African American. But as a sustainability management student, I found my affinity group within the sustainability management program. And we just went to Central Park yesterday to listen to the Philharmonics. I've never heard of the Philharmonics in my life. I haven't. Okay, I'm sorry. But just embracing New York, the people within the sustainability management program, and everyone at Columbia in general, I gained a plethora of experience, not only in my career field, but also in life in general. So how is it as a person of color on campus is amazing.
Thanks, Hezekiah. That's great. This is another question as it relates to balance, but I think it's still important to address is, for those who are enrolled full-time, did you work part-time during the program? Were you able to find work opportunities through Columbia? I know that this was addressed for some of the panelists throughout the session, but if anybody just wants to talk about kind of balancing being a full-time student and working part-time.
Oh, sorry. Okay, I'll go quick. Yeah, I've been a full-time student and I worked part-time in the fall and the spring semester. I think Marie kind of hit on a lot of the points. I would say 20 hours. I was working 20 hours and they wanted me to work more and I was taking 4 classes. That was kind of a lot. I think it can depend based on the job, based on the courses you're taking. Like there are a few variables there. But it's definitely manageable because of the courses, unless you're taking courses that are outside of SUMA that are in the middle of the day, you will have your full day open. I think Ruby also mentioned, like, I know a few people that are full-time. I don't know how they do that personally, but everyone's different. I know people that like to be busy, so I don't know if I would personally recommend that, but I definitely think I would say, like, from my experience, you have capacity to work part-time. It's great to get more experience, to make money. I did not work through the school. It was through like opportunities I found on my own. And like one great thing I can say about that is right now there's a really big demand for this type of expertise, and whether that's in contract positions or part-time positions, you could really take advantage of that.
Just wanted to add on really quick. So I was a full-time student and I worked on campus every semester in a different job. So I think one semester was SUMA Administrative Department, one semester was Earth and Environmental Science TA, one semester was Earth Institute intern. So there are definitely lots of different opportunities on campus that you can take advantage of if you are looking into it. I did take 4 classes and then work 20 hours a week. So it is manageable, it is doable. One thing I will say is different parts of the semester are more hectic than others. So at the end of the semester, when all 4 of your classes have like final papers and presentations and you're a TA and you have to grade 200 papers all at one time, that can be a lot, but there are different portions of the semester where things might be calmer, so to speak. So yeah, they're trying to balance that time frame. But yeah.
Actually, so sorry, go for it.
Oh, no worries. So I do work full time, but there's a little bit of crossover here that I think I could speak to, because I know quite a few people in the sustainability science program that do research at the Earth Institute as their part-time job, which I see is a question somebody asked. So that's definitely doable. There's a shuttle that goes from campus to the Earth Institute. So they take that there, do the work there, and they're full-time students. Personally, I take 2 classes at a time. I think that has allowed me to be able to balance being a student, being a husband, working full-time, and because my wife and I, we really enjoy traveling around and doing things. And so it gives us time to do that as well, to experience the city. And I will speak to the sustainability science program specifically. It's definitely doable to do in a year. A lot of people do it. However, we are a smaller program, so we have fewer classes and they're not all offered every semester. So depending on which classes you want to take, there are advantages to sticking around for about 2 years. Because then you'll see the full cycle and you'll be able to take all the different classes you want to take. And again, like me, I really balance. I'll probably actually end up having taken about half my classes, maybe 40% from SUMA by the time I finish my degree, because as I was in the program, my professional life kind of started moving into a new direction. And as I followed that, I'm like putting together more pieces from both programs to best bolster what I want to do. And the program is really good at helping you with that, making sure that the classes you take are going to pay off for you in the long run.
Thanks so much. One other, and a couple of you noted it, but one of the questions was relating to the Climate Schools Earth Institute positions. Can anybody share the specific position that you might have had with the Earth Institute?
I mean, I'm currently like a student researcher at the Earth Institute, so I do that on top of it. It's the same job designation, really, like from the logistical aspect of it. It's the same job designation as you would get from almost any job you take through SBS or the Earth Institute. But for your resume purposes, obviously, you can work with your PI and figure out like what title would make sense for what you are doing. I do mostly field work and a little bit of lab work. My friends are all in the tree ring lab, so they spend days drilling out cones out of the trees and analyzing those. And they also actually do a lot of field work as well. There's a lot of possible avenues. A lot of them start with the professors you're taking classes with. If you want ideas even earlier, I would just start reaching out to some of those professors and seeing what's happening, because a lot of them also right now, the pandemic really kind of had almost a freeze on academic funding, and a lot of that's opening up right now again. And a lot of them need some sort of help.
Thank you for that. That was really helpful. By all means, did somebody, yeah.
I was just saying, I think one semester as an intern at the Earth Institute. So every semester, I don't know if they still do this, but they have like a list of internships every semester that you can apply for, and they vary a lot. So they may not all necessarily be doing similar kinds of work. The one that I was working on, I was working at Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory, doing research on like kind of oceanography and climate change research. So I was in the lab a lot with like soil samples and weighing things and very kind of hands-on work. And then because I was doing class in the evening, I had time during the week to drive up to Lamont Doherty Earth Observatory and come back. So that was what I was saying.
That's phenomenal. So we are coming up on time now. And I just want to emphasize, if we did not get to your question, I apologize. Feel free to send us an email, though. We will definitely want to address any questions or concerns. And I'll let Chandler go ahead and just give up some wrap-up remarks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alfred. And thank you so much to our panelists. That was an amazing discussion. Your answers actually blew me away. I didn't know that a lot of these things about you all. So that was great. And again, congratulations to all of our admitted students. We do hope to see you in the fall. I'm sure our panelists would be happy to connect with you on LinkedIn. You can also connect with me on LinkedIn if you have any questions, or also feel free to shoot us an email. But again, thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful day.